Hey folks, Jamie Stokes from Royal LePage Frank again. I wanted to talk about closing your deals today. The market is really changing. I think most realtors are saying that this is just a temporary thing, but if you look at things going on around the world, you're going to see that there's countries with inflation that are so high they can't afford to live, buy food. There's food riots around the world. With food shortages coming up, there's fertilizer export bans, diesel problems for farmers who drive diesel tractors. Everything that gets delivered is delivered by a diesel truck or shipped with a diesel boat ship. So I think our housing market, most realtors you ask are going to say, oh, this is just a temporary thing. We've been through it before. I don't think that this is going to be such a short lived thing. I think it's going to be more long term, and I do have concerns about it. So, the market right now, I know, the past few years, especially this past little while, months ago, the real estate market was super hot. People were paying hundreds of thousands over asking. Now we've got mortgage rates going up. They've gone up 2.5% in a short period of time, and they're calling for more mortgage increases. So people are strapped out. I read a statistic a few years ago that the average Canadian is within $200 a month, uh, within not being able to pay for rent or payments, or basically starving or going bankrupt. I don't want to make things take things out of context too much, but the statistics are that Canadians are not doing well. The food bank usage is really it's gone up sky high. People are struggling. They can't afford to pay for things because interest rates are going up, and the cost of food, rent is super high right now. The cost of housing is super high. Whether you're buying or renting doesn't really matter. I mean, it's extravagant. You're supposed to spend a certain percentage of your income on rent, and it's not working out that way. I mean, people are spending 60-70% of their income on rent and things like this. So the market is definitely changing. I think we're going to come up to a market crash. I know, in other places of the world, such as China, there was a run on the banks and people couldn't take their money out. They haven't been able to pay their employees. They haven't been able to pay their mortgages. The same thing's going to happen in the US, and the same thing eventually is going to happen in Canada as well. Monthly payments for mortgages have gone up. I mean, they're not super crazy right now. I hear a lot of realtors saying, "Oh, back in the '80s, our interest rates were, 11% or 15 or 18% or whatever." And I just think to myself, okay, well, the average income back then was like $30,000 a year, and the house prices were like, not even $100,000. So what's an extra? I look at it this way. So the cost of a house, income was like $30,000. Let's say your house was 80,000 or something like that, and that would take you, say, two and a half. If you didn't have any additional expenses, it would take you maybe 2.5 years. Your income would pay off your house. That's not the case anymore. We have people making, a lot less in comparison back then to what the housing affordability is. So with the mortgage rates going up and inflation and the cost of everything going up, people are really going to start to struggle. I think we're going to see a housing crash here. Most people will probably disagree with me, um, but I'm not just looking at Canada and the Canadian economy. I mean, there's things that are being statistics that are being manipulated. If anybody thinks that the inflation has only gone up like 6% or 8% or something like that, I mean that's ludicrous. We know what food prices have gone up. What bought you $100 last year or months ago isn't the case anymore. It'll cost you three times that, anyways. So that's not 6 or 5 or 8% inflation. That's way more. Rents have skyrocketed. So, it's harder for people to save up to buy a house and to afford groceries and pay their utilities and pay their car payments and every other thing, the cost of living. And it's getting worse and worse. There's no, economists are saying that that things are going to last for quite a while. More and more economists are starting to say this, and we have to look at the entire picture. We can't just look at Canada, and we can't just look at one country. What's happening right now is a global thing. It doesn't affect just one country. I mean, some countries, Venezuela, China, some other countries, Iraq has rolled out digital food rationing. I know Egypt, with all the food, the wheat, because of the war in Ukraine, the wheat has stopped, and that's made a huge impact on things. Sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, things like that coming out of Ukraine. They're not coming out anymore. Russia's taking control of everything, and nothing's coming out. So countries like Egypt, for example, they import 80% of their food. They don't grow it there. I mean, it'd be pretty difficult and costly to do that. It's easier to just import it. We've created a world economy where countries are not self-sufficient anymore. We rely on other countries for food and different products. That's why you have Taiwan having issues right now. China wants to take Taiwan, and that's going to be another conflict possibly. Taiwan is responsible for making incredibly advanced microchips that run, computers, weapons, cars, all kinds of things, and there's a shortage of those. So we can't just look at what's going on here at home. We have to look at things globally, not just domestically. When it comes to the housing market, if things keep going the way that they are, I don't know really what to say is going to happen other than a housing crash. And that's not going to be a great time to buy either necessarily, because they'll probably make it, a little bit more difficult to buy. People who have money will just be buying more investment properties. So there will be a housing market crash coming. BMO put out a thing the other day saying that mortgages are going to go up by 50%. Can you imagine that? I don't know who's going to be able to afford to, have a 50% increase in their mortgage. The stress test for mortgages wasn't designed to take into factor something like a 50% increase in mortgages. So there's going to be some serious, serious problems coming up in the housing market. We're only starting to see things now a little bit. And I know any realtor that's watching this, they're going to say, he's full of crap. That's not the case. We went through this before. I'm telling you, this time it's different. This is not the same as it was in the 80s or, in 2017 or whatever. It's not the same. 2008, it's not the same. This is different. Everything is being impacted globally with the war that's going on and all the different things going on around the world. I mean, take a look. Spend some time looking up some information of what's going on around the world, not just listening to Western news. I mean, you even have, in the United States, New York put out a video what to do in case of nuclear emergency. And I'm not talking about nuclear reactors melting down. I'm talking about nuclear bombs. Russia has, incredibly advanced missile systems, and they have a missile, the Satan II, which I think is like almost Mach 20 or something like that. It's so fast that it can't even be detected by U.S. missile defense systems and other country missile defense systems. Not only this, but it's so large that it can carry 15 warheads on it at one time. The missile defense systems aren't capable of defending against something like that. That's that fast and can deploy 15 missiles at once, and it can carry nuclear warheads. It is an absolutely massive thing, and it's scary. And I think this is part of the reason why NATO hasn't bothered to go after Russia. I mean, the U.S. What I read is that the U.S. has over 400 nuclear missiles, while Russia has over 4,000. Even being combined, Russia would give NATO a run for its money for sure. It's not that simple. And then you have China backing Russia in this war as well. So I don't want to get into conspiracies or politics or anything like that too much, because we're talking about housing here. But these things are all making an impact on the housing market. You won't be able to find any information relating them, but there's even been people who have stopped looking for properties to buy because they don't know what the future holds. They're worried about the war. And it's not going to be a good time to buy housing if the housing market just keeps crashing and crashing. You can't buy something expecting it to drop, $50, $100, $200,000, There was an article put out on the news the other day discussing how house prices in the GTA even have dropped, by some of them. I mean, obviously it depends on the price, but if you have a house that's worth, not even a couple $1,000,000, it could have dropped $200,000-300,000 in the matter of, a few months maybe. So, and it's not necessarily one-off properties. This is kind of a statistic because I've noticed even on properties that I've sold that the comparables from a few months ago um, were were far different from what things are selling for now. There are 100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 difference sometimes, and it's not just one offer coming in necessarily. It can be several offers, but all of the offers are all coming in around the same price. So that tells me that the market has shifted because all of the offers are within, maybe $20,000 of each other or something like that. So it's not like one is offering, 800,000 and the others are offering 1,000,000 or something like that. They're all offering like 800,000 or in the same price range. So the market is dropping. Interest rates are getting higher, so that makes it not a good time to buy necessarily unless you have a lot of money or equity in your home. Maybe able to take that out, buy a place, or sell the place that you're in and buy another. But by the time you add in fees and stuff like that, you really have to pay attention to the costs and risks involved in buying and selling at the same time in a market like this. Most realtors are going to tell you, don't worry about it, which in a sense is true. I mean, real estate always gains in value over the years. If you hold on to it for long enough, they're not making it anymore, as I've said before. So real estate is an excellent investment, but you have to be smart about it. Most people I'm seeing haven't quite come to the terms with the fact that the housing market is dropping, but it is. I'm seeing the numbers, I'm seeing the prices and the offers and things like that. Some places are getting no offers. It's not like months ago where people were getting, 10, 15, 20, 30 offers on a place. It's changed. So you're getting a couple offers and they're all within the same price range. So the only difference that they're making really is maybe in the clauses or something like that. But I think we're in for a crazy market drop coming up here, and people need to be adjusted to that. Their expectations. If you're an agent, discuss your sellers and your buyers' expectations when buying a place. Everybody wants to sell high and buy low, but when the market changes, if it's high, you're selling high, but you're also buying high unless you go well out of area, or you're selling low and you're buying low. You can't sell high and buy high, at least not in the same area. Unless you're willing to move a good distance, that's not going to be the case. So I'm saying there's going to be some pretty dramatic changes coming up in the housing market here in the GTA. And it's not just going to be in the GTA. I work the GTA, so I'm going to speak mostly about the GTA. But expect some serious changes to the housing market. Don't expect things to stay super stable for a while. Things are dropping at an incredible speed right now. You might not notice it even if you're a realtor, but statistics, sometimes they're good to follow, sometimes not. Depends on how statistics are calculated. My experience and what I'm seeing here is that things are dropping quite fast. I'm seeing price reductions on properties daily. So this is what to expect now. The housing market is going down and interest rates are going up. That's about it for our housing market here. We can't just look at what's going on domestically or at home, although the world economy kind of plays off of each other. So you have to pay attention to more than just what's going on here on your front doorstep. You have to take a good look at the picture, the overall picture of things. So expect price houses to continue to drop. Expect mortgage rates to continue to climb. And I'd like to say, good luck to everybody out there. I hope you're able to continue on. And another thing I want to touch base on is my concern for buyers right now. I slowed down working a little bit. I knew this was going to happen. I don't want to say I'm, Nostradamus or anything like that, but it's if you spend enough time looking into things, you can tell where things are headed. And people overpaid, months ago. And now that closings are coming up, maybe they have a 30, 60, 90-day closing, maybe longer, probably not, because 60 is typically the max. But whatever the closing is, prices have really dropped in that amount of time. So people, if you spent, $800,000 on a house and it's dropped down and it's only worth $650 now, it's dropped to $150,000, for example. People put down a $20,000 or $30,000 deposit, something like that. They're trying to just walk away from their deals, and I want to warn you guys against this. You can research this yourself. Go on the Canadian legal database for case law and past cases called CanLe, and you can search in their search bar there and research cases. There are now, and there's going to be a lot of cases coming up in the very near future in regards to buyers trying to walk away from deals that they've signed legally binding contracts on. I want to warn you guys, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice, but you cannot just walk away from your real estate deals and forfeit your deposit. What's going to happen, you're going to forfeit your deposit, 20, 30, maybe more. The house is going to be relisted, so if it sells for $200,000 less, you're going to get sued for that. The house is going to get resold. You are going to probably be be on the hook for the other party's legal fees when lawyers get involved, and it's going to be costly. Maybe that's 10, maybe that's 40, maybe it's $80,000, whatever the case may be, how long it drags out. You really want to try and find alternate ways to close, even if you need to take a loan from somewhere else, if that's possible. I don't want to give anybody advice here, but talk to your mortgage broker or your bank and find out how you can close on things. If you need to borrow money privately or something like that, maybe that's in your best interest to do that. But I just want to warn you, you really need to close on your deals, or you're going to end up paying hundreds of thousands probably in losses, and you're going to walk away with absolutely nothing. Would you rather walk away and lose hundreds of thousands of dollars, or would you rather try and find a way to close? And you can't just say, financing fell through, it's been 60 days or something like that. Financing fell through, I just can't close on my contract that I signed. You have to find different sources and show that you've genuinely tried to make this deal happen. You can't just say, the bank changed their mind, or financing didn't go through with the bank. You need to actually invest some time and try and find a way to close. If things go to court and you didn't make any effort to try and actually close things or come up with a solution, that's going to impact you even more. Not to say that, going to court and saying, I tried this and this, I still couldn't close, is going to necessarily save you. That depends on a financing clause anyways, and different factors. But if you just try and walk away from things, you're really going to get stuck here, and you're going to end up paying for it. So my advice is try and close, work with each other. Nobody wants to deal with court. Nobody wants to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not fair to the sellers. It's not fair to the buyers. It's not fair to anybody. But you need to work together and put a genuine effort to try and close your deals. Otherwise, you're going to be on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you'll have absolutely nothing to show for it. Is that really worth it? Absolutely not. If you'd like to buy or sell a property or discuss real estate in general, feel free to reach out to me. My telephone number is 289-927-5991, and my email is jamiestokesrealestate@gmail.com. Take care for now.